everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers Podcast. I am Jody Grunwald. This week, my guest is Catherine Curry-Williams, co-founder She Angels Foundation and Shane's Inspiration, podcast host of Wine, Women, and Chocolate. Catherine herself is a true inspiration and has incredible energy to do all she can to make a difference in this world. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, until she took her suitcase and a bicycle and headed to California to become an actress. While there, she met fellow New Yorker Scott Williams. Scott has been the writer and executive producer for the TV show NCIS for several years now and was a guest on this podcast last year. Unfortunately, their first child, Shane, passed away just days after he was born due to spinal muscular atrophy. Out of a tragedy, a beautiful nonprofit organization was born called Shane's Inspiration. The organization provides inclusive playgrounds and educational programs that promote inclusion for children with disabilities. 75 playgrounds have since been built on 5 continents. The She Angels Foundation awards grants to female-founded and operated nonprofit organizations that provide mentorship, funding, training, and advancement resources to girls and women. For her dedication and impact in communities through the world, Catherine has been honored by countless philanthropic organizations, such as L'Oreal Paris Women of Worth, March of Dimes, Good Housekeeping Magazine, Lifestyle Magazine, the City of Los Angeles, and the State of California, which recognized her as one of their 2018 Women of the Year. Catherine likes wine tasting so much that she created an online magazine in 2013 and is launching the Wine, Women, and Chocolate podcast this month, February 2022. Go to winewomenandchocolate.com to learn more. On March 24th, Today is the Day is launching the inaugural International Changemakers Forum titled Challenge Yourself, Disrupt the Status Quo. Go to todayisthedayliveit.com for more information. And don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Today is the Day Live It. The views expressed by all Today is the Day Changemakers podcast guests are their own. Their appearance on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast does not imply any endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Have a great week, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald, and as I say every episode, I get to interview the most incredible humans across the world who are doing incredible things. And today I have Catherine Curry-Williams with me. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to have I know we're going to have a great conversation, but I'm going to read like I always do because the bios are incredible and yours is absolutely incredible. And I won't read all of it because it is so many things that you've done, but I want to definitely highlight a lot of what you have here. So Catherine is
always interested to hear what I do.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll see how you feel after I read it.
Okay.
Catherine co-founded the She Angels Foundation after a lifetime of proactive philanthropy. Following the loss of her son Shane in 1997, this Brooklyn native founded Shane's Inspiration, a global nonprofit which creates inclusive playgrounds and educational programs that promote inclusion for children with disabilities. Through these parks and programs, Kat fulfills her mission to unite children of all abilities through play, compassion, and kindness. For her dedication and impact in communities throughout the world, Catherine has been honored by countless philanthropic organizations. Everybody listen up to this. It's truly incredible. L'Oreal Paris Women of Worth, March of Dimes, Good Housekeeping Magazine, KCET TV, Lifestyle Magazine, the City of Los Angeles, and the State of California, Catherine, which recognized her as one of their 2018 Women of the Year. She is a Huffington Post contributor and author of the book, Yes, You Can Use Your Hormones as an Excuse, a humorous look at midlife. We're definitely going to talk about that. She is also the co-founder of the Woman with Purpose Conference, where kindred spirits gather to thrive, inspire, and evolve. Guest speakers at WWP have included Mary Williamson, Linda Gray, Rhonda Britton, and Susan Anton. Kat enjoys wine tasting so much that she created the online magazine in 2013 called winewomenandchocolate.com, which offers content for women of all ages that basically gives permission to have your cake and eat it too. Catherine, I need that permission. The podcast debuts in February, and she lives in LA with her husband, NCIS writer, executive producer Scott Williams, who was on the podcast in 2021, this podcast, and their beautiful daughter, Grace, and 3 adorable dogs. So I did get through all of it because I couldn't leave anything out. It's also incredible.
And one of those dogs aren't so adorable right now. Callie. So sorry about that. This is the this is the world we're in, where the dogs, which I
Absolutely.
love, because we have to acknowledge our fur babies too.
Absolutely. And I have 2 fur babies that downstairs who can at any minute start talking too. So this is the way the world is. So let me ask you, I read your bio, and I don't know how often you read your bio or you hear it back. What were your thoughts on your bio?
I thought, oh, that was a good bio. I don't usually, you got a lot of stuff in that bio. And can you send me a copy of that when you read it? Because I was like, that's, everybody asks you for your bio. And I'm like, I don't know, and I know there's some out there, and I acknowledge I have been a part of all those things. But I'm like, ooh, I gotta meet her.
Yes, that's how I felt when I all of those things.
And how do you say that humbly? But I'm not even sure, okay, I don't want to jump to, I'm a fraud already, because I don't want to start that in so early in your podcast. But I do know that is something, when I hear my bio, when other people say, I have learned over the years to say thank you and yes, rather than push it down.
Yeah.
But it's still a struggle to be honored. And why is it to be honored and to be acknowledged? That's crazy for a woman to say that, but that is part of our DNA. Using, oh, I'm sorry, no, I didn't, trying to shush it away. And that is not really who I am practicing to be today. And over the last 10 years, really hard practice to just receive and acknowledge your acknowledgement. So
yeah, it's important. It's incredible. I think that there are people out there that come from ego. So they love to be boastful, and that's their way of actually, a lot of those people who come from that ego, they're really behind that, not really feeling that about themselves. So they have to be boastful. And then there are people like you and me who we do things, but we don't like to talk about it or share it or feel comfortable like, oh my, and but yet we're forward facing. And during Scott's podcast too, and so many of the guests from last year, the theme was imposter syndrome. And I couldn't believe it, from so many forward facing change makers like yourself. That is a theme that we're battling. But here's the key. We are not seeing it as an obstacle in the fact that we're just sitting still and being paralyzed. You're actually still doing it.
yeah.
And other people permission by sharing what you just shared will give someone else permission also to acknowledge it, feel it, and move through it.
Right. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. So, that was that is still something that I do all the years since I'm 13 years old. I read that, feel the fear and do it anyway, because I always had like things that I was scared of. And I realize now, thank you, that this has been a through theme in my life. Do it anyway, feel it and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Exactly.
it's uncomfortable,
Some people don't know how, so I think some people want to do things and they don't know how, but my mantra is always take one step, find somebody who does it, ask them for some to give you 5 minutes of their time, find a way. There are
Yep.
ways. Ask questions.
That's kismet. Why we know each other and the spirits are like, because I love that. That's exactly right. That's
yeah. And when I first started talking to you, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I know her. We have a lot of things and we just met everything by chance. I'm all about connection and listening to the signs and the path that we're on. And so somehow we wound up here, but I want to go back a little bit in your life, right? Because we do, I think, have something in common, because you're a New Yorker, aren't you?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, like 4 miles from Coney Island, which to me felt like 100 miles away. I mean, I really did feel like it was 100 miles away. It seemed like we had to take a train to get there. And it was trains, planes, and automobiles is how it felt, with your bathing suit. And then you get to the beach, and then you have to walk really far to the water. And I had this little tiny little problem. I hate sand, but I love the water. So I, on top of it all, it's just part of the metaphor of life. I had to get through the sand to get to the water, and somehow I did that. And I'm in New York a lot, and occasionally I'll pop back into the old hood. And when I see how close Coney Island is and Nathan's and everything, it's just, it astonishes me. It always reminds me of like when you walk back into a school, your public school that was like giant to you, and now it's like mini. It's like
Mhm.
that's how Brooklyn feels. But I'm still a New Yorker through and through. My husband is from Yonkers. I'm from Brooklyn, and we spend a lot of time in the city. We recently I'm fiddling with my hair because this is what us New Yorkers and us Brooklyn.
We like
do
the big
that
hair.
and make
Yeah.
sure we have our nails done. No, I do. I'll tell you, during the pandemic, when I didn't, when I couldn't go do any services, and I didn't at all, like it was not, didn't mean much to me. But when I did go out and I had like my hair done and my nails done, I was like, oh, I guess I do this for myself. I don't do this for other people. I really felt like, oh, I'm not doing that. I don't, this is me. I love looking at it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And it's okay to do things like that to make ourselves feel good. We don't need to feel guilty for that.
yeah.
Self-care is so important and what makes us smile. As long as it's healthy and non-destructive, why not? Right? Get
I,
some hair.
you know, I never saw how much it was a personal thing, not for others. It was like, oh, this is me. This is fun, you know, fun. And the other is me too, because I'm a, you know, hiker. Well, I like to hike, I walk, you know, and I spend a
Right.
lot of time with my hair in a ponytail and sneakers on. And that's me too. So,
Well, we have, right? We are multidimensional, right?
yes.
Not one dimensional, we're multidimensional. March 24th, today is the day is launching the inaugural Challenge Yourself, Disrupt the Status Quo International Virtual Changemakers Forum. This unprecedented event provides attendees with an opportunity to grow their organization's footprint and personally connect with fellow leading changemakers from around the world that represent diverse backgrounds and skills while sharing universal interests and goals. The event's keynote speaker is Henry DeSeo Jr., author of Changemaker Playbook, The New Physics of Leadership in a World of Explosive Change. Your ticket purchase matters, as 20% of the proceeds will go to a nonprofit organization. Go to todayisthedayliveit.com for more information. Thank you to Investors Bank, Catalyst for Change sponsor, and scholarship sponsor, the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Special mention to all the Inspire Change sponsors. I want to go back to what you said, because I love that. I wrote it down, getting through the sand to get to the water. Incredible way to look at life in general, and the fact that you put that together and not loving the sand, right? We go through hardships and then, but the water was kind of the reward, and that happens in life all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So as we go back, and I'm from Bergen Beach, so Bergen Beach, Brooklyn, like that's where I lived. So I lived there till I was 15. How old were you when you left Brooklyn?
18, and moved to California with my bicycle and my dreams packed full of I'm going to be an actress.
So that was
I've
it,
got my
acting.
bicycle, you know, not the Beverly Hillbilly, the Brooklyn girl Billy on her bike. A bike, a couple of suitcases, and away I went. So yeah, I grew up
So
there my whole, you know, my whole childhood through the time I was 18.
So you wanted to be what kind of an actress? What was your dream? What kind of
Barbara Streisand.
film?
Barbara Streisand and Anne Margaret, roll them together. I think that would have, you know, if I sung like her and I danced like Anne Margaret, and, you know, funny, I made people laugh all the time. So comedy, that was my, and still is, my relief. But yeah, those two actors and, you know, what they exuded, what they meant to me, that is who I wanted to model. And what I manifested was a lot of TV commercials. I manifested some parts on TV shows and worked hard in acting classes and played hard too. You know, 18, moving 3,000 miles away, I probably played more than I worked diligently and focused. And that's why commercials were my jam, because I can go on a lot of interviews and I can get a lot of, that was easier than remembering oodles and oodles of pages of lines. And so I suppose that's my success in commercials was due to, I had discipline for that and not as much discipline as I probably needed for Barbara Streisand and Margaret's shoes to fill those shoes.
So do you sing?
So no, I don't sing. So why
That was-
did I want to be that? Do I sing? Yes. Does anybody want to hear me sing? No. You know,
I understand. Nobody wants to hear me sing either.
nothing more to say to that. It brings me a little sorrow every day.
Oh, so you did commercials where you were and some acting
a
and
lot of commercials. So
a lot
I
of-
paid the rent through that and all the other bills between waitressing and bartending and my commercials. That was a career. That was my time in that chapter to shine, and I did, and I had fun.
yeah. So now, how long did you do that for? When you still doing that now?
Oh
Or
no, I'm not still doing that. I did that until I was 35 and married my husband Scott, and only at that time and only after meeting him did I realize that I wanted to have a child. I wasn't someone who thought my whole life, I think I was selfish. I was in my acting career and I did not think that I wanted a child. But when I met Scott, it was so apparent that we would be parents. And after on our honeymoon, I conceived with our first child, Shane. And that changed everything for us. And he was born he was born paralyzed, and we had no idea why. I had a perfect pregnancy. He was born on term. He was 7 pounds. He was beautiful, but he couldn't breathe on his own. And they whisked him away right away to the NICU, the NICU, in Cedars in Los Angeles, to my shock. So to everyone's shock. And when I say everyone, my family, everybody was there. It was the first child, the first son amongst many girls I'm one of 4 sisters. I'm the baby of 4 sisters. I hate to throw that away, but I have been doted on by the best sisters, sister-in-law, and family members. And yeah, Shane was born paralyzed, and we did not know what it was. We thought we would take him home, but in 10 days after he was born and tests, it was diagnosed that he had something fatal called Wernig-Hoffman, spinal muscular atrophy, and there is one that is fatal called Wernig-Hoffman, and he passed away in our arms in the NICU 2 weeks after he was born. And I crawled in under a rock. I had basically spent a year in the bedroom that we created for him in our home, and everything changed. I wrote hundreds of letters to God how angry I was, and I wrote a book that I didn't publish, but called Letters to Heaven. But in the year, they were to Shane, they were to it was I can't say it was a blur, because I was present a lot of the time, and present with my anger and my grief. And my husband grieved differently, but he was always there for me. He got his first writing job, because this is 25 years ago. And he got his first writing job and was off to the races, which was good, because he was able to fill the gap of, I was no longer, bringing in some of the dough with my commercials, because I couldn't go on auditions. And then there was a light that happened. His sister, spinal muscular atrophy was for the studies that many years ago, very rare. 1 in 40,000 people had it, and 2 people had to have it to have a child with the chromosome missing. Now people are diagnosed with it right away through non-amnio, through blood work. So they've done strides in spinal muscular atrophy. But at that time, no one knew of it. We never heard the word. And my sister-in-law, who lived in Scarsdale, New York, very close to Connecticut, was reading one of the Connecticut newspapers as she did, and she saw a woman who lost her child to spinal muscular atrophy. And she was like, oh my God, I've never, and everything changed from the day that Mickey read that newspaper and sent the article to me, because I wanted to meet the woman, and then I wanted to see what she was doing. And what she was doing was something good in memory of her son. And that spoke to me. And I wanted to do something good in memory of my son. It was now 9-10 months in, almost to the year mark, 11 months. And I knew that I was someone who would get up and get out of bed and do this, but I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I didn't know why, I didn't know what for. And then that changed everything. And she was building a playground called Jonathan's Dream. And it was called a boundless playground where children with disabilities could play side by side with their able-bodied peers. Hers was in a great, fabulous Jewish community center at the time, and it's still there, and it's been amazing. But I hopped on a flight within a month or so and met her, and the journey began with another chapter of my life, which I left acting behind. It meant nothing important to me as doing something good in memory of my son. And I wanted to open up the first West Coast boundless playground with my husband at my side, my friend Tiffany at my side, and the village of friends and community. And 25 years later, and millions of dollars later, we have built 75 playgrounds, on 5 continents, and we have education programs all over the world. And today the organization is called Shane's Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration, because the mission keeps growing. My mission for building the boundless playgrounds was for, I felt like I filled that mission about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was looking in my life to see, where am I now? Because these playgrounds are here and they have changed a culture. They've changed the culture around the world. And that is true. You can look up Shane's Inspiration or Inclusion Matters and see we made a difference in a child and in a family's life, children with disabilities, so they can be together with their able-bodied peers. So, wow, I know that all my friends and all the family and every contributor made that happen. I was just the person with my husband and Tiffany and, the team, the small team of designers. We held the space and the path to move it forward, and we did what we did. And yeah.
It's, you see that, grief is an interesting emotion. It's a paralyzer when you lose somebody, so that we should never have to bury our children. Never. And that is without a doubt. Or it's a motivator to something to help, because Shane gave you a gift. Although the gift was not his life to be here to grow with you. It was a different type of gift. And it's hard to ever think of it like that 25 years ago when it happened. But somehow his memory, which I think is I can't say this enough, such a beautiful thing. I've done this for for my dad and his name and his honor. My sister and I started a foundation that's grown throughout New Jersey. And the reason I bring that up is that I think that people don't realize that you can move through grief by doing something in someone's name that we've lost and give their gift to someone else. And that's exactly what you've done. You've created such an incredible gift for so many kids who would feel so different and so excluded if they didn't have what you've created. And so I'm so sorry, Kat, for your unscots. And there's I always say this to anybody who's grieving, no matter who they're grieving for, there are no words that are going to make anybody feel better. There's nothing anybody can say verbally. There's no hug that's going to make you feel better. But just being supportive and being there, and then you creating something, that emotion, that action, I really believe helps to bring some little bit of peace.
Oh, there was absolute peace. I felt all along that this was a gift, and through all those honors and everything, I was like, oh, the parents should be honored. The people that we were serving is a community that couldn't do anything for themselves. They were busy getting their kids into school. I learned so much. What a gift it was to us. I know my husband feels the same way. It was our gift, and people all the time go like, oh, how great, what you have done. But I truly, in the arena of building these parks and doing this, I learned so much, and the gift was irreplaceable. Was something to receive as as a life altering love. I can't. There's no words how great it is. How the families, what they do, how I feel that to give to them. It's like, oh my, they are the greatest. How they move forward and how they work their day every single day with their child with a lot of odds. It's like a playground being an odd was absolutely unacceptable to me. Unacceptable for a playground where we negotiate everything. For that to be an odd, to be like something, oh no, we can't go to, that's too hard. That was not, anger comes into grief, and when you're angry, you can get a lot done. And watch out for a woman, who
move mountains, right? We can move mountains with anger.
That's right. And passion and direction and focus. And that was razor sharp for me. So
well, you're an incredible change maker. And with the list of all the things, I mean, you didn't stop with that. I mean, you started with that. That was the catalyst, and it was a big catalyst, and it was a great loss. And then you continued. I mean, like your bio says, women with purpose, she angels. You are not stopping, books that you've written. So let's talk a little bit. I think what you do with She Angels is great, is incredible and great. But tell us the evolution. So Shane's Inspiration, like you said, you created it. It's growing. It's doing its thing. It's doing everything you wanted it to do. It's now called Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration. And about 5 or 6 years ago, you said you saw the growth. And then what happened? Where did you go from?
At that point that's when I started doing Women with a Purpose conference. I had a lot of support, a lot of women, and a lot of, men that love women. I love men. It's all good. And so I would do women's seminars for 250 women, have great speakers, Rhonda Britton, Marianne Williamson, Dougal Frazier, Dr. Cheryl Selman, oh my God, Kathy Pedro, all amazing speakers and coaches, and just have a luncheon. It was a luncheon with a lot of great information, and women loved it. And at some point I thought, I wondered how I can expand that, and into something that I found out was another critical unmet need, and that got my dander up in a tizzy. Only 1.6% of women and girls charities, that's all that gets funded. Only 1.6% of funding for nonprofits go to women and girls charity. I was like, what? That must be wrong. No, lots of research. I know how to, due diligence, and that was right. And at that point, I decided, okay, I have a skill set that I hadn't planned, but I am 24 years on the job. I had mentored other nonprofits as a give back. And when I say on the job learning at Shane's Inspiration was that, and that gift, all these skills, my acting skills, my Sarah Bernhardt, as my mom used to call me, the drama queen, well, that wasn't giving me much movement forward, but the skills that I learned at Shane's Inspiration and how to have a movement and how to make change and what to do, I decided to pivot to a different venue, a different area, and that was women, as I said, and girls. And so She Angels was born from that. I called a friend, Catherine Gray, I knew, who had a podcast called Invest in Her. I was on her podcast. I knew a lot, that she had a lot of women and she had a similar drive. And I called her and I said, do you want to, kind of collaborate with me on this? We can co-found this, because I didn't want to necessarily do it alone. And she said yes, and off we went. And July 2020, right after the pandemic, we got our nonprofit status and raised $125,000 within a short period of time. And our goal for that organization is to have women members once a year, no dinners, no gala, volunteers. Everybody's a volunteer. There are no, there's no say that 3 times fast. There's no paid officers. That's my Brooklyn and my California accent
Coming
fighting
together.
And what we've been able to do in this past year has been more than extraordinary. We've given 14 grants to date to women founded and operated nonprofits that give to girls and women's causes, mentorship, funding, they themselves, resources, mentorship. And so our program is giving grants to these organizations, and everything is tax deductible in our organization because the member gives, and then that goes right to the grant program. And like I said, there's no goods and services, because we don't do goods and services. We have a good time. We have salons, that's free, because members donate their home, their backyards for the last year, and entertainment. We have a great group of members. So I would love, if anybody's interested in it, for them to go to sheangelsfoundation.org and see what we're about, and text me, call me, beep me if you need more information. We love more members, and we're a great community, and we have a grant submission process. So if you're a nonprofit out there and you're woman founded and operated, you can also submit for a grant on sheangelsfoundation.org. The everything is there for you to submit for a grant. Typically our grants range in about $5,000 at this time, but we don't make it difficult for you to receive the grant. There are guidelines, and there's a grant team that it has to be vetted by, and then the board of directors, which I'm the president of, but everything has to go through its process. But being on the other side of a different kind of an organization, which Shane's Inspiration was, I have compassion for especially grassroots organizations that need to, they make a big difference. We can make a big difference. And I call our program a collective giving program. And I'm just inspired every day to wake up and do that,
Yeah, well, yeah,
my
I feel
jam.
inspired. I feel inspired just listening to you. And I think it's great. And I've actually already sent people your way after we talked the first time, because I'm like, this is unique. This is so great that it's women, about women run, helping girls and women, and being able to fund programming specific to them. And I
Yeah.
think that that's incredible. And you you have such
Pardon my.
we're Brooklynites, so we get it. We have that energy of like, we're gonna just get it done. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it's just gonna happen. We're gonna get it done. We love something, we go after it, make it happen. And I just love you did that with the conference. Are you still running those conferences, by the way, or are you not?
No, that is what kind of transformed into the She Angels, because our salons coming June 5th in New York. You want to come out to Gramercy, in the area of Gramercy. Marianne Williamson will be speaking at our salon. They're small, they're intimate, and that is, it's kind of melded with that kind of thing. We'll talk about women. We'll talk about women here we are today and why we need to be here. And we'll eat, drink, and be merry and productive. And that's what our salons for our members. It's free. We only offer it to our members, and they're welcome to bring a possible incoming member to it. That's how our salons go. So we're able to keep them small and free. And so.
So I encourage everybody to go to the website to learn more about how to become a member, learn more of how you can give and help so that we can empower women.
Oh yeah, we have a base in New York. So that's New York, Jersey. Actually, our office manager is in Jersey. So
all right.
Sabrina, shout out to Sabrina Spagnolo, because she's my she's part of my posse. A very important part of the posse. She does a lot of the work. The input, and we've got Holly Powell's part of the posse, and Robin Radin, Catherine Gray, Deborah Smalley, and Andrea Quinn. We've got like an amazing group of women who in the world are onto themselves, you know, people who run the news, executive producers, to people who are just who are moms, knowing that their daughters need to see a change in women being in the room. So it goes from one end to the other.
So I just want to go back to something that where we started for a second, because I think it's so important. You came into California at 18 to become an actress. You now have started 2 nonprofits. You are empowering women to do incredible things by funding organizations. And we talked about imposter syndrome. So here's what I want the listeners who are out there thinking, I don't know how to start something. I will have all of these ideas and dreams, and I have no idea how to make them happen. And you're hearing Kat talk about how she made all of those things happen. And
yeah,
so it's so important to realize that anybody, all of us have that power. It's just if you step into it, that's the key.
So are you, you know, what I can impart on any listeners is start writing the stuff down as an exercise of kind of what you want to do. Not like it's impossible. You know, you have to know that. I'm very big on vision boards, but my vision boards start with the process of what makes me happy, and not that this will make me happy if I get it. So you're writing it down. If I was doing this, this is what I want, you know, start with some exercise that puts it into the physical view of your everyday, for you to see every day, for you to look at it, because I truly believe in, it's a mantra, thoughts are things, choose the good ones. Mike Dooley to that, because I'm also an infinite possibilities trainer. I have a award somewhere, not an award, it's a certificate. I took it for myself, not to teach others, although I'm available to teach. I mean, not available, but I can, because I have this certificate. But I wanted to, I loved the idea that he brings forward, Mike Dooley. And I read 5 of his books, and I thought this, so what I say and what I do is not a brand new idea out of my head. I just listened, and I took the coaching from what felt in my gut right. And you have to get present. You have to not look at, oh, I didn't do that in the past. You can't get down on yourself. You have to give yourself permission to to not pressure yourself, but yet you have to start taking baby steps, because you can't say, I write this down, I want to do it, I close my eyes and twinkle my nose. You should look at it every day and make a baby step towards what it would mean to do what you want to do. And I've always found a mentor, because I always know that I don't know something and I know what I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know, but I know I don't know a lot of stuff. So let me find somebody who does know. So I write questions, and then I seek mentors. And yeah,
Kat, I couldn't have said that better myself. That's exactly, I think I said that on another podcast. That's exactly what I do. And I think people are afraid to find those, you feel like I'm 50. I'm like, I'm still looking, I have mentors now, and I'll keep looking for mentors. Who cares? I don't care if they're younger, my age, who cares?
There's something to learn every day. When I first moved here, and I met a group of like artists, and it was like it wasn't hippies, because I was past that time, but they were a group of artists, and I guess I saw myself as bohemian, and I was just listening to them. And one of the artists, literally the artist, she was an artist, said, there's something, and as we were like drinking wine, hanging out, I learned about what port was. Don't do that too much, because that will give you a hangover. That'll let you. But I was learning what port was, and I heard there's always something to learn every day. And from that point, at 18 years old, that's in my everything. There's something I'm going to learn from somebody, even if it's something I don't want to learn or I don't like. I can learn something if I'm there listening. So of course, the better questions you ask and feel comfortable. I tell my daughter this all the time. Asking questions doesn't make someone think you're stupid. In asking questions, it lets people know that you're interested and you want to learn, and that makes you in my eyes brilliant. Ask a question, brilliant. Maybe I didn't know that. Maybe you want to ask me a question and you put it in such a way I would have to that's such a gift to ask a person a question that they can help you with.
Curiosity, right?
Yes, curiosity.
I'm always curious. Even when I'm not on a podcast, I'm asking people questions all the time, because I learn so much from every single person that walks through.
I love it. Sometimes my husband says, well, why are you asking that? I'm like, no, because I'm really curious. There are those people that think you're, running them down, but no, I'm not running them down. I don't have an agenda. I want to know. It's like, that's the child that we should always, there's another tip, embrace the child. Honor the child, give the child permission. If your mom said no, money didn't grow on trees, and something that we all heard, go like, thank you. And now I'm going to reinvent that. And today I can think that money may grow on a tree because the tree is paper. Like, reinvent it, think of it different, and then move forward. Because getting stuck in the past does not help you, especially if you have an idea that you want to move to fruition.
Pam 10 is a leader in IT enterprise solutions and staffing. They are driven to transform their clients' business performances. They do this every day by providing their clients with the best services and products. Products like BizLego, an online community platform, and Colear, a unique learning management system. They also transform the lives of women and children through their associated nonprofits, SheTech, which supports women in and joining the technology field, and Softkin, support organization for kids in need. Pam 10, technology for social good. Go to pam10.com for more information. I want to ask you this, because this I can't wait. I know you said you're going to send me your book. I know you said it's a fun book.
Yes.
At the age of 50, this is not a bad thing for me at all. Yes, you can use your hormones as an excuse. Tell us a little bit about this. Look at that, everybody.
The reason why I'm showing you this to you. Look at how little it is. It's a tiny little 5x4 book. There's pictures, ish. pictures-ish. That is the metaphor for how our hormones have to be looked at. There's wine and chocolate and a lot of permission in this book. At the end, it'll tell you, thoughts on facts about ashwagandha and things that we can do. But pretty much it's like bread took over my desires and I gave into them. And then there's other stories that talk about my pantyhose that shrank. I'm like, I didn't know pantyhose can shrink, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it was that bread that, so it is, I want to make no, mistake about it. This is a novelty item, and it is meant to be that, because
We
that
need it.
is,
We need a novelty item when you're talking about hormones. So where is it available on Amazon, bookstores? Where can
well,
we
you know what? It is available in shops in wine country now. And it was, and I went to a second printing, but I didn't decide to go to a third printing. And if I get
Wine
a
country.
zillion inquiries, I didn't go to a third printing. A second printing was another, I don't remember how many copies, maybe 1,000 copies, but a third printing is now, because I wrote this a while ago, and but it's always relevant. That's for sure.
Oh, it is.
And it was available at my seminars, and and it's available in wine stores in Solvang, but and it's going
That's
to be
awesome.
coming in the mail to you, but I'm always interested in sharing a little fun and funny stories in private company.
Yes, I get that. I totally get that. I'm excited to read it. So thank you. And then now this podcast that you're going to be doing, Wine, Women, and Chocolate.
Okay, come on. I'm a rebel. That is part of my personality. And my rebel Brooklyn girl since 2013 has been doing has a website up called Wine, Women, and Chocolate. Why? Because I needed to, they're metaphors for life. Wine is something that you drink. It doesn't have to be wine, but it's what we do for ourselves. It's our time to relax. The wine, the woman is like conversation, and a word I'll shout out to my friend Kathy Allwell and Max Jimenez is buchinche. We like buchinche. We like to gossip a little and talk a little and share our thoughts. So that's what women represents to me. And chocolate is indulging and giving yourself permission. So that's where the Wine, Women, and Chocolate thought came into my mind. What about it? It's more than just those words. And so since 2013, I've had that. That is my website. And then I send a newsletter once a month. And then I decided to throw my hat over the wall and start a podcast. And it will debut in February, and it will be some on location at wineries. It will be fun. We have great guests with our one of the first couple of episodes will be, or second episodes, I forget what it is, in which is the first African-American woman in our country, who's, I'm proud to say, is my good friend, Iris Rideau. Iris started a vineyard, and she will be a revolving co-host. She was the first woman to start a hugely successful vineyard in the San Ynez Valley, and the first African-American woman, which is like, we don't know until we know, and we hear her story. And I think you'll be interested in her story. It'll be a two-part episode at the Rideau Vineyard, and she's 86 years old right now, and she is a hot mama, and she has so much to say. And so people like that, fun. It's not serious wine talk. It is wine not talk.
Ooh, look at you are so creative. Look
I
at
just said that. Okay.
But that is so good. You know what I really love so much is that, like, I hear all the things you're so interested in, and I, like you, I dabble, right? Because I go wherever I'm pulled. And I think that a lot of people feel like you have to stay focused what is it called? Jack of all trades, master of none. I like being a jack of all trades.
I
like
do too.
that, right? And
There
I
are
feel like that's
masters. There are masters. I mean, I'm a master of my skill set in the nonprofit world. I'm a master at creating items. Do you see that? Without my
oh, I
lipstick.
see it. Yeah.
She Angels Foundation. I'm a master at fun. Well, I'm a participating member of fun. But a jack of all trades, I think I've looked that up. It's like I'm interested in a lot. I love art. I love kids. I love generational things. I'm a Course in Miracles devotee. I meditate every day and I listen to every day of the year, the Course in Miracles, and then start again the next year. So, but I don't waste my time on a lot of worry. I worry and I don't like to, but I try not to waste. I try to right myself, and I have time to do this. I learned when I was older, after 50, that there's no race. And when I feel like there's no race, it seems like time expands for me. And I do get overwhelmed. I'm not like some, I do get overwhelmed at times, but I find it very important to remind myself to come back to center. Thoughts are things, choose the good ones, and take a moment to breathe. And what is it that I'm going to do now? And what do I have to fulfill at this moment? And in that way, more gets done. I do write lists. I keep lists, but I'm able to do a lot of things that bring me joy and not feel, like, oh, I'm just, I put myself authentically into them. I mean, I think that's what it is. If you're authentic, I'm not trying to make anything up. I can't lie about stuff because then you can't remember it. Well, certainly at my age, I had to make that decision. Do not make too much stuff up, because you're going to have to remember it later. Feeling like a fraud is for me mostly because I get accolades for just being authentically me. And then that feels like, well, aren't you authentically, why would that? Because these things come that I love to do. And I think if you could, the best thing that one could do for themselves is to be true to yourself and really ask yourself those questions. Every single day, you have to remind yourself of those questions. That's why they call them practice, like we have to do our practices. If you ask yourself, what do I love? What do I enjoy? What do I need to do? There's obligations. I understand that. And do the best you can each day, because I love what drives me is waking up to what I could do next and where can I help. But that brings me so much joy in doing it. Like that's it, I kind of feel guilty how much joy I get from giving. But okay, you can do that. I mean, it is, if that's what you want to do, you can have joy in other things. For me, it's about that. For you, you have to find really what brings you joy. And you know what? Cooking brings me joy. Stuff does not have to be financially bringing you a ton of stuff. Ton of stuff can come from asking yourself what makes me happy. So that really has to be the starting point every morning, rather than getting into saying, that car, if I had that car, that would make me happy. No, it's what will make me happy is a feeling.
And it brings you to the car if you want that in the end.
Yes, it comes. That stuff comes. If you don't worry, sweat. You hear it all the time. Don't sweat the small stuff. The universe, that's a place that I live from. that works for me. So that's the only place that I can share
What
with everyone.
on this side of the Zoom screen is you're in your flow. You are in your flow. You know who you are. You know what you need to connect to, and you allow it to happen. You don't fight it, and it's such. I swear, I totally believe that we meet people for a reason, and everything that you're sharing is the journey I am on. And it's so weird to me because I feel like I'm hearing what's in my head. And I couldn't meditate for the longest time because I'm type A and I'm all over the place and I couldn't sit still for 5.5 minutes. I was more the Zumba girl as opposed to, right? So I need to move.
I love Zumba.
Oh, I do.
I don't do it. I want to see, no, I want to do it, but I need a partner.
Yeah. See, that's my problem. I'm doing nothing now. I loved Zumba, but then COVID hit and I wasn't going to any more classes and I want to get back to Zumba, but I actually found meditation. Like my dad was all into all of this. I mean, this was stuff he was teaching years and years ago before anybody believed in any of it. And I was like, meditation, stop it. I don't know what that, I'm not going to manifesting. What is that? And it sounded so hokey pokey. And now that whole law of attraction piece, everything related to it, it is real.
That's, 100% for me is where it is, and good, the bad, the ugly, and it's just how long do I sit in the back, how long do I sit and am I angry or sorry or pissed or frustrated is I'm a human being. So those things live, but what my practice is not to sit in that too long, allow that and acknowledge that and be in those feelings. But if I take actions from those feelings, it usually is not moving me forward.
I give myself a time limit. I try to.
Good.
I will say, okay, you can have your pity party for X amount of time.
That's
then
great.
I check in again, and then I check in again, and I'm like, it's 24 hours. I'm still feeling the pity party. That's when I know I need to take action. That's when I know I need to listen to somebody who inspires me, talk to somebody who inspires me. That I'm sitting too long. It's okay to sit. You lick your wounds a little bit, but you got to move forward.
Yeah.
Be real. But we also then have to realize that life is, like you said, you don't waste time. Life, if we sit there, we're wasting time that we could be doing phenomenal things.
Right. I use a phrase that believe in God and tie up your horses. So for me, that means so much. I have faith. I know and I trust that if I get out of my own way and not work on my negative thoughts, they never help. I know that, even though they come in, but I do the things, the step by step, and that's to tie up my horses. And my friends laugh at that saying, but then the next thing I know is they're saying, I'm using that saying. Even God and tie up your horses. It's just like, yes, make a vision board, but you can't just sit there and look at it. You have to tie up your horses. You have to make it a step by step to doing it. And so the step by step is writing something down, if that's for you, putting it in your computer, calling the friend, whatever it is to make what would work towards the project that you're looking forward to doing, or
my vision board is right over here every day, right next to me. But the other thing somebody shared with me that I don't know if you do, but I want to start doing this is Post-it notes with whatever that is for the day, right? So whatever you want to manifest, whatever it is, and move that note around. You can't just keep it because you'll never look at it. It's looking at that, whatever that goal is, and looking at it. And then if you'll get used to it after a while, if it sits in the same spot, so you got to move it to another spot.
I love that. That's a great, learned something new today. I'm sure there's a lot of things here today that I've learned, but I'm taking that one right to the bank with me.
So I have 2 more questions for you.
Oh, okay.
One of them is
for 2 more questions. Okay. I
We'll do
lost
it
track
quick.
of time.
we'll do it really fast. So where did you and Scott meet?
Huh?
Where did you and Scott meet?
Oh, we met at the Renegade Theater Company in North Hollywood, California. I was a member, and a friend of his brought him for the first time. And probably 3 months after, I was already, we established that theater company. And he was just friends with benefits.
That is so cute. That is so cute. Oh my gosh. Well, you two are the most positive. I've interviewed you both now. You two are the most positive and real people, and I'm feel honored to know you both. So
Well, I managed to get him into shape. Not a physical shape, mentally into shape. He used to call me I was a vegetarian before, in the beginning of our relationship. And and I used to sell crystals, and so he used to call me his woo-woo friend, and then of course that's the person that he married. And of course I was not going to get married. So how did that happen? And then our relationship became like, this is the person I want to have children with. We do have a beautiful 22-year-old daughter, Grace, her name is, and of course we would have to call her Grace. She's perfectly healthy without the SMA gene, and she gave us lots of grief and was a rebel when she was 15. So just talk about, that's when your hormones then kick in. She was 15, and those two things met, and you think, okay, after Shane, everything is she's not going to be, nope, we got a rebel of a teenager. She's fabulous. But anyway, I'd be remiss if I did not mention her today.
of
Since I'm
course.
mentioning Scott, lots of wonderful things came from our union, and still, I believe, will.
Yeah, absolutely. How many years are you two together?
25. Well, we're married 25. We're together 28-ish, 20.
Well, and just go back to your daughter. I have two, and I understand, and I totally can understand and empathize with the 15-year-old rebels.
Yeah.
I totally get. But I also had them at 20, and my daughters are 23 and 20. I feel like there's still rebellion going on, but it's okay. We just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You do your best you can. So
Yeah, and hence a glass of wine does not hurt. The bottle will hurt, but the glass is
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So Kat, last question for you. What is the footprint you want to leave in this world, or that you are creating for yourself in this world?
Good.
Even behind.
Good thought. Being present to, a footprint of what it's like to be the light, see the light, then be the light, then share the light. I think the footprint now in this day and age would be most the legacy from that, or the footprint, it is light, because I believe that the dark likes to consume the light. And right now, our world and our country and the planet and the environment is seeing the effects of the dark, generations of not paying attention to our planet, not paying attention to the love in government and in education and in medical research. It's always looked at in there's not a lot of love there, and I feel like my footprint being the light would feel the best thing that I can possibly do. And that is something, we have to do on our own. So whatever you think your footprint can be, it is not something like I can say, well, I want to change, humanity's thing. No, I can do what I can do from me. I can't, I can offer, and we can give grants, and we can make changes, but inwardly, and what I can be, I'm going to say control of, or what I can put forth is the light of being. And what that means is looking at things without judging them, and look at them that they've come from the best possible place. And that's hard where we are now. But sometimes I just meditate on the light just to be the light. That's why I wrote Be the Light, see the light. First of all, you have to see it. You have to, and there I've seen it. And now I want to be it, and I want to share it. And for those who want to see it, that's the other thing. You can only give to those who want to receive.
That's very true. And you are a light. I mean, in the short time that I know you, it's just incredible. You truly are a light, and your authenticity, and you're teaching people how to be real. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's so incredible. And you're giving so many gifts to so many people, all different ways, through Shane's inspiration and through She Angels. It's just, and then your podcast, you're going to get women feeling connected.
Hey, shallow deep, ladies, shallow deep, guys, men, women. It's like, we can't always be. And that's not my quote. That's from my friend, Marilyn Kentz, who is one of my mentors. She wrote so many wonderful books, but This Is Not Your Mother's Midlife is one of them. And Marilyn always said, shallow deep. And I said, I'm using that everywhere, in every seminar that I taught and everything. It's because it's, you have to, allow yourself that permission to drink the wine and have the chocolate and indulge, because you deserve it. But you have to believe that about yourself too, that you deserve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Kat. Thank you for sharing all of this. I appreciate you taking the time. I
hope I'm going to see you at New York. And it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Jersey, from where you are.
I'm there.
Okay.
You can count me in on that.
Okay.
I'm going to say what I always say at the end here, but again, I want to thank you. Please, everybody, it's sheangelsfoundation.org.
.org.
sheangelsfoundation.org. You could become a member. You could donate, help, women run business or women nonprofits help other girls and women do incredible things. That's what the whole basis is, and Kat's doing that. And February, Women, Wine, and Chocolate.
Oh, the debut will be Wine, Women, and Chocolate.
Wine, Women, and Chocolate coming out. So yes,
the podcast.
Where can they find the podcast?
They can find it in a month, because it has a process on winewomenandchocolate.com. So that's the website. And you can still find there's tons of archives of stuff. Winewomenandchocolate.com. Drinks to mix, good recipes, excellent tips on winewomenandchocolate.com.
Can't wait. I'm going on. I think I've already subscribed, or I went on there. I know I've been on.
If you subscribed, you get a newsletter every month. I do it, my Love It list, and it's a very simple, very to the point, good book, a good drink, good reasons to love your life. There they are. So.
Well, like she said, see the light, be the light, and share the light, everybody. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what small or large step are you going to take today to get yourself closer to your goals? Thank you again to Catherine Curry Williams for being a phenomenal guest. And everybody have a fabulous week. Bye.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.